In early 2026, Michael wakes up before sunrise in a quiet Ohio suburb. He is not rich, not poor, just an average American who followed the usual advice for years. Work hard, save a little, trust the system, yet grocery bills feel heavier, rent has climbed again, and his savings no longer feel safe sitting idle. Michael is not chasing luxury. He wants stability, dignity, and freedom from constant financial stress. His story mirrors millions of Americans who are realizing that building real wealth in 2026 requires a smarter, more intentional approach rooted in knowledge, discipline, and long-term thinking. Real wealth is not about sudden windfalls or overnight success. It is about control over time, choices, and future security. In 2026, the economic environment in the United States demands awareness. Inflation has reshaped spending habits, interest rates have changed how borrowing works, and technology has opened new doors while closing others. The old formula of earning, spending, and hoping is no longer enough. Wealth now starts with understanding how money actually behaves in this new landscape. The first shift Americans must make is redefining income. Income alone does not create wealth. What matters is what remains after expenses and how intentionally it is directed. In 2026, many households earn more dollars than before, yet feel poorer. This happens because lifestyle costs rise faster than income growth. Real progress begins when spending aligns with values rather than impulses. Tracking expenses is not restrictive, it is empowering. When people see exactly where money goes, they regain authority over it. Consider Sarah, a single mother in Texas who felt trapped by monthly bills. Instead of seeking a second job immediately, she reviewed her spending patterns. She discovered recurring subscriptions, unnecessary upgrades, and convenience costs draining her income. By restructuring expenses and focusing on essentials, she freed up cash flow. That surplus became the seed for future growth. Wealth often begins with small, quiet decisions that compound over time. In 2026, cash flow management is a foundational skill. Americans who master it can navigate uncertainty with confidence. This means building a buffer for emergencies that covers essential living costs. Such a buffer is not about fear, it is about resilience. When unexpected events occur, those with preparation avoid debt traps and emotional decisions. Stability creates space for smarter choices. Once stability is established, the next layer of wealth building involves productive use of surplus funds. Letting money sit idle loses potential, yet reckless moves can destroy years of effort. The key is balance. In 2026, Americans have access to transparent financial tools that allow participation in real economic activity without speculation. Ownership in productive businesses, asset-backed opportunities, and value-driven enterprises can all play a role when approached with care and understanding. Education is the gatekeeper here. Wealth is built by those who learn continuously. Financial literacy is no longer optional. Understanding how assets generate returns, how risk actually works, and how long-term growth behaves gives individuals an advantage. Many Americans fail not because of lack of opportunity, but because they follow trends without comprehension. In 2026, informed patience outperforms impulsive action. David, a factory supervisor in Michigan, learned this lesson after chasing popular financial trends in earlier years. Losses taught him that excitement is expensive. He shifted toward learning fundamentals, studying business models, and focusing on steady participation rather than dramatic gains. Over time, consistency rebuilt his confidence and his financial position. His progress was slow but real, and it restored his sense of control. Another critical pillar of wealth in 2026 is skill-based income growth. The job market continues to reward adaptability. Americans who invest in learning high-value skills increase their earning potential without relying on debt. Digital skills, problem-solving abilities, and specialized knowledge allow individuals to negotiate better compensation or create independent income streams. This is not about chasing every new trend, but about aligning skills with real market needs. Technology plays a supportive role when used wisely. Automation and digital platforms allow Americans to manage finances, track goals, and access opportunities previously reserved for institutions. However, technology should serve strategy, not replace it. Tools amplify discipline. They cannot create it. Those who succeed in 2026 use technology as a map, not as a gamble. Time is another overlooked asset. Wealth favors those who think in years, not weeks. Compounding works quietly, rewarding consistency and patience. Americans who start modestly but stay committed often outperform those who begin aggressively but abandon discipline. In 2026, the temptation to react to every headline is strong, yet the greatest progress comes from ignoring noise and following a clear plan. Family and community also influence financial outcomes. Open conversations about money reduce mistakes and build shared understanding. When families plan together, align goals, and support disciplined habits, wealth becomes sustainable across generations. In 2026, isolation leads to poor decisions, while collaboration strengthens resilience. Purpose matters as well. Wealth without direction often leads to anxiety rather than peace. Americans who define why they seek wealth make better choices. Whether the goal is security, education for children, or the ability to give back, purpose acts as a filter against unnecessary risks. Money becomes a tool, not a burden. By the end of 2026, Americans who build real wealth will not look dramatically different from others. They may drive modest cars, live in ordinary homes, and follow simple routines. Their advantage lies beneath the surface. They understand cash flow, respect time, value knowledge, and act with intention. Like Michael, Sarah, and David, they choose steady progress over illusion. This is the foundation. Real wealth begins with awareness, discipline, and informed action. It grows through patience, learning, and purposeful decisions. In 2026, Americans who embrace these principles quietly step out of financial stress and into lasting stability, setting the stage for the next phase of their journey. In 2026, Michael's mindset continues to evolve. Stability gave him clarity, and clarity opened the door to intentional growth. He no longer asks how to get rich quickly. Instead, he asks how to make each decision strengthen his future. This shift in thinking separates temporary relief from real wealth. Americans who succeed in 2026 build systems that work quietly in the background, even when life feels unpredictable. One of the most powerful systems is disciplined saving with purpose. Saving without direction often leads to frustration, but saving with a goal creates momentum. In 2026, Americans who assign every saved dollar a job experience progress faster. Whether it is future housing security, education funding, or long-term independence, clear targets transform saving from sacrifice into strategy. Purpose turns patience into confidence. Emily, a nurse in California, learned this after years of emotional spending. She decided to give structure to her finances. She separated short-term needs from long-term goals and automated her saving process. What surprised her was not how much she saved, but how much stress disappeared. Structure reduced decision fatigue, and consistency replaced guilt. Her story reflects a broader truth. Systems protect discipline when motivation fades. In 2026, protecting wealth is just as important as growing it. Risk management is often misunderstood. It does not mean avoiding all risk, but understanding which risks are worth taking. Americans who build real wealth focus on preservation first. They avoid overexposure, diversify thoughtfully, and never commit resources they cannot afford to lock away long-term. This cautious strength allows growth to happen without fear. Housing decisions play a major role in financial outcomes. In 2026, owning a home is no longer a universal requirement for success. For some, ownership provides stability. For others, flexibility offers opportunity. Real wealth comes from choosing based on numbers, not pressure. Americans who analyze total costs, location stability, and future mobility make housing decisions that support their broader goals instead of limiting them. Debt discipline becomes another defining factor. Not all obligations are equal, but unmanaged debt quietly erodes progress. In 2026, wealth builders treat debt with respect and caution. They prioritize clarity, avoid emotional borrowing, and create clear payoff strategies. Freedom grows as obligations shrink. The absence of pressure allows focus on opportunity rather than survival. Community influence continues to shape outcomes. Americans surrounded by people who normalize thoughtful financial behavior make better choices. Conversations shift from comparison to collaboration. Learning from others' experiences reduces costly mistakes. In 2026, shared knowledge becomes a powerful asset, especially in a world flooded with conflicting information. Entrepreneurial thinking also expands wealth potential. This does not require launching large companies. It begins with problem solving. Americans who identify needs within their communities and offer value-based solutions create additional income streams. Small ventures, when managed responsibly, add resilience. They reduce dependence on a single paycheck and increase confidence during uncertain times.
Time allocation is another hidden multiplier. Wealth builders in 2026 protect their focus. They understand that constant distraction leads to shallow decisions. By setting boundaries around information consumption, they reduce emotional reactions and improve judgment. Fewer decisions, made well, outperform many decisions made quickly. Legacy thinking emerges naturally as stability grows. Americans who reach this stage consider the impact of their choices beyond themselves. Teaching financial responsibility to children, supporting ethical businesses, and planning for orderly transitions become priorities. Wealth gains meaning when it strengthens families and communities rather than isolating individuals. Michael reflects on this by the end of 2026. His income did not explode, yet his life feels lighter. He sleeps better, plans calmly, and reacts less to economic noise. His progress is quiet but undeniable. He built habits, not hype. Systems, not shortcuts. His journey shows that real wealth is not a destination, but a way of operating. Americans who follow this path enter 2027 with confidence. They understand their numbers, respect time, and act intentionally. They are prepared, not anxious. Real wealth in 2026 is built by those who choose clarity over chaos, patience over impulse, and purpose over pressure. This approach does not promise perfection, but it delivers progress that lasts. Education planning becomes another strategic layer. In 2026, Americans recognize that learning does not end with formal schooling. Continuous education protects earning power and decision quality. Courses, certifications, and self-study expand perspective and reduce dependence on outdated knowledge. Those who invest time in understanding economics, personal finance, and industry trends avoid manipulation and misinformation. Knowledge compounds just like money. Health and finances also intersect more clearly than ever. Medical costs remain a major concern in the United States, and proactive planning reduces long-term strain. Americans who prioritize preventive care, healthy routines, and realistic coverage options protect both body and budget. In 2026, ignoring health risks often creates financial setbacks that discipline alone cannot fix. Geographic flexibility adds another advantage. Remote work and hybrid models allow Americans to reconsider where they live and work. Some choose lower-cost regions, others negotiate location-independent roles. This flexibility improves savings rates and quality of life simultaneously. Wealth grows faster when expenses align with income reality rather than social expectations. Emotional control remains a recurring theme. Markets move, headlines shift, and opinions change daily. Wealth builders in 2026 train themselves to pause before acting. They separate facts from noise and respond rather than react. Emotional discipline prevents costly mistakes and preserves long-term plans during short-term uncertainty. Finally, gratitude anchors the process. Americans who appreciate progress, however small, remain consistent. Gratitude reduces comparison and strengthens commitment. It reminds individuals why they started and keeps ambition balanced. Real wealth includes peace of mind, not just numbers on a screen. By practicing these principles daily, Americans transform ordinary incomes into extraordinary stability. The path is not dramatic, but it is reliable. In 2026, real wealth belongs to those who build quietly, think clearly, and stay committed long after excitement fades. This steady approach reshapes futures, strengthens families, and allows Americans to face uncertainty with calm confidence, preparation, and enduring financial self-respect for generations ahead.